So now I have the ignition where I can turn like that. I have a gas cap which I can turn like this.
Welcome back everyone to episode 3 of the ZX14R rebuild series. We're going to start this episode strong by replacing that broken cover. I know some of you are probably mad that I decided to reuse the old gasket, but two things about that. Number one, during the time I was filming this episode, all the gaskets were out of stock. I really just couldn't find them anywhere. I think I found one on eBay for like $80, but I wasn't paying that. And two, I am from the future and it doesn't leak, so no need to worry. And if it ever does decide to leak, it's not a big deal to replace it after the fact anyway, so there's no worries there. Now it's time for me to replace that old coolant hose that's broken. I went ahead and ordered an OEM replacement for a variety of reasons, but mostly because I've had bad luck in the past with aftermarket hoses, so I decided to just pay the insane premium and get OEM. Installation is pretty easy, just slides right off and put the new one right back on. No need to be careful with this hose, as it's going to be thrown out anyway.
So I went ahead and I bought a new EverStart battery. This is the model, the exact one that came out of it. It has, the one cool thing about this battery is it has terminals that are threaded, but it also has terminals up here and on the side, so it's not a bad battery. In addition to getting a new battery, I also got one of these, which will allow me to hook up a battery tender to the battery, and that's good to help maintain it and keep it good, because I don't want to replace this battery again in a few months if I let it go dead.
Ah yes, replacing the old Walmart battery with a new Walmart battery. Truth be told, I'm not a huge fan of these EverStart batteries. I've had problems with them in the past, but I was just so eager to get this bike started, and I'm a little too impatient to wait another week for a battery to arrive in the mail. Maybe in the future I'll upgrade it to a lithium ion if I decide I want to keep the bike. These battery tenders are what I would call necessary. Every bike should have one. They can be a bit of a pain to thread on, but well worth it, and they're just so cheap, it's just silly not to have one. Now it's time to check and make sure the battery works. And good, it does, so time to move on. And yeah, I know I forgot to put the battery box in, whoops, oh well, easy enough to do after the fact though. I would like to take a moment to give a special shout out to my gold level patrons. Thank you so much, Amateur Mike, Charles Raymond Young, Gordon Black, Trace Young, Josh Moore, Roost Squid, Stevensk, and Ahmed. Thank you all so much for supporting. If anyone else would like to support, then check out the link down in the description.
Okay, so I'm still waiting for a few things, but I figured now is a good time for me to actually drop the engine oil and see what it looks like. I do have a little bit of oil in this container. This is from a different oil change. I just never cleaned it out. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna try and drain out the old oil and see what happens. See what it looks like. Make sure there's no metal flakes or anything like that. That's what I'm looking for. Metal flakes, metal chunks, all of that stuff. Hopefully not. Fingers crossed that we're okay.
So we are sort of at a moment of truth here. Because the engine had been left open for so long, who knows what got in there and who knows what's broken. This is a pivotal moment in this build. Depending on what this oil looks like, it will decide what direction we go with on this build.
and so far so good. I don't see any chunks. I see no flakes. The oil is dirty. It needed to be replaced, as you can see. So I'm gonna let that drain out. Of course, the engine's cold, so it's gonna take a long time to drain out. I'm gonna leave this probably for like an hour. And I'll also undo the oil filter. I might be able to do the oil filter now.
As you guys are about to see, removing this oil filter has proven to be a major pain in the butt.
The exhaust headers are literally right in the way. I can't even get my finger in between them.
Time to break out the big guns. These oil filter wrenches are never fun to use, but they are nice to have when you get a stubborn filter like mine.
Oh, now we're dripping oil. Alright, that oil filter is so stuck. I've tried hammering a screwdriver through it, tried just about everything. I think it's starting to budge though, so I'm gonna try and film me removing this. There we go, finally. I've literally never had an oil filter fight me like this before. Well, here's the oil filter. As you can see, it fought me. It fought me good. You guys, when you do these filters, you put a little bit of oil in the ring, and then you freaking hand tighten it about as tight as you can by hand.
So let me show you how to properly install an oil filter. First, take some clean oil and lubricate the gasket. I also like to put some on the threads as well. Now you just hand tighten it as much as you can. Getting a rag will help you to prevent your hand from slipping. I never had an oil filter leak on me, and they are never a problem removing as well. Just get it hand tight and you're good to go.
And I got my new crush washer right here. So I gotta take this one off.
A torque wrench isn't a bad idea. I've installed enough of these drain bolts though to have a pretty good feel for how tight to go with them.
Yeah, you never want to tighten those down too much, just enough for the crush washer to crush. And that filter's on by hand, as tight as I can get it.
I always like to clean around the filler hole before removing the plug, just to avoid having any loose debris falling into the engine. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I didn't realize just how much oil this bike took. I guess this 1441cc engine needs a bit more than what I'm used to. 4.5 quarts to be exact. Pretty crazy. Can I just say how nice it is to have one key that just works for everything? Seriously, it's so nice. I'm just going to add in some fresh fuel now. About a gallon of premium grade gasoline should do it.
Alright, now it's time to start it. There's no coolant in it, so I'm just going to start it and turn it off immediately if it runs. I just want to hear it fire. That's it, turn it off immediately. I'm a little nervous though, it's always scary when you're about to do something like this, but it's filled up with oil. It has about a gallon of gas in, premium, and yeah, we're gonna see if it works. I'm gonna cycle the key a couple times. All right, you ready? You got nothing? Everything looks good.
Wow, what a bummer. All that anticipation wasted. I'm not really sure what's going on here. I'm hitting the button and nothing is happening at all. This is pretty frustrating, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I wonder what is causing this. Whoa, I think it somehow fixed itself. Let's give it a shot. Wow, and just like that, the ZX14 is alive. Don't worry though, this episode isn't over yet. There's still something I need to take care of.
Okay, so here I have one of these bolts. This bolt's not in the greatest condition. I'm going to buy a new one. But just to show you guys, I try to thread this in by hand, and it goes, but see how it gets tight, like right here? I can put a wrench on it, and I can tighten it, but it gets hard right about here. And the reason why is, well, there's two possible reasons. One, this could be the incorrect bolt. What it also could be is these threads in here could be either damaged or just dirty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean it. And to clean it, I have this tap and die set. So to show you guys how this works, so basically we have these taps right up here. Now usually they're used for actually drilling in new threads and things like that, but I'm actually going to use it to clean the old threads. So this is the tap. You go ahead and you just insert it in the hole, and you make sure it's completely straight. And usually I like to go by hand first, just so I can get a good feel for it. I don't want to ruin the threads. Now what I can do is I can take one of these, open that up, put that on. And I like to go, I also like to back it out a lot, go like this. And every time I feel like a snag, I just back it up a little bit. Now, if you guys are working on bikes, especially older bikes, oftentimes you'll notice that threads and stuff like that, over time, they just get crappy, they get a little rust in them, Loctite, all that stuff. So it's really important, I feel like, to do this because it will make the bike feel like brand new when you're putting bolts in. The way these things work, these taps, is that, you see these are basically bolt threads, but they have these relief cuts in them. So as they're threading in, all the junk that's in your threads will go to the relief cut and fall down and basically be out of the way. And I'll clean all the threads and make them all super nice and make it super easy to bolt things into them. I couldn't actually get the bolts. Everywhere they're sold out. I don't know why. So anyway, I went online and I found out that they are at 8mm 1.25 threads, and they're 35mm long. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. You see how that's threading in so easily? I found out that the other bolt, when I went to the store, I looked at it and it actually was the wrong thread. It was a imperial thread and not a metric. So, good thing I didn't actually thread that in because it would have damaged the threads. So now these bolts are in, and actually they look pretty good. I think I might actually keep these.
They do look great. I do worry they will rust through though because they are just steel bolts. But for now they will do the job just fine until I can source some OEM ones. So off camera I decided that I would wash the bike. I found a spider nest on the bike and there were dozens of baby spiders crawling all over it. So my only options were to either burn the bike down to the ground or wash it. I decided to go with the wash option this time, but the fire possibility can always be my fallback plan. As you can see from the before and after shots, the bike looks way nicer. I used some of that black restorer on the engine and frame and very happy with how it turned out. And after I allowed the bike to dry, I couldn't see any more spiders. I'm going to call this a job well done. We got the bike running and looking good, so I'm going to end the video here. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate you all. Take care and bye-bye.